Hello students. Today we are going to discuss general principles of cancer chemotherapy. Let's start with the introduction. Cancer is referring to a heterogeneous group of diseases which is characterized by uncontrolled cellular growth, local tissue invasion and distant metastasis. It is second most common disease prevalent in India. Prevalence in India is estimated to be around 2.5 million with over 8 lakh new cases and 5 lakh 50,000 deaths occurring each year due to cancer. This shows there is huge impact of cancer on the healthcare system. Most commonly occurring cancer into the male are oropharyngeal, lung, esophageal and stomach cancer, while in female cervical cancer, breast cancer and oropharyngeal cancers are commonly encountered. Why this cancer occurs? Root cause for the development of cancer is altered gene expression. This gene expression can be altered because of the acquired mutation or it can be as an inherited mutation. Acquired mutation occurs because of the exposure to carcinogens like chemicals, certain viruses, radiation, etc. But because of the any reason when there is altered gene expression, proto-oncogenes are converted into oncogenes like CIS, ERB, MYC, RAS, gene for cyclin D, etc. And there is decreased expression of tumor suppression genes like P53 and RB1. Because of these two factors, uncontrolled cell proliferation and dedifferentiation start. And because of the decreased expression of the tumor suppression gene, there is decreased apoptosis and alteration into telomerase is there. Along with other factors occurring at the cellular level, all this together will lead to development of primary cancer or primary tumor growth, which produces metalloproteinases. These metalloproteinases are helpful for invasion of the tumor cells into the nearby tissue, and when this invasion occurs, there is a process of angiogenesis and metastasis, and ultimately there is development of secondary tumor. Now we see the 7 warning signs of cancer. If there is change into the bowel or bladder habit, a sore that does not heal, unusual bleeding or discharge, thickening or lump into the breast or elsewhere, indigestion or difficulty in swallowing, there is obvious change into the wart or mole onto the body. These are the signs which usually direct towards the development of cancer. Nagging cough or hoarseness is also one of the red alerting symptom for the diagnosis of cancer. Once the cancer is diagnosed, we have to decide first what are the goals of therapy. Into these cases, goal of therapy, first goal is to cure. Like any disease, you want to cure the disease. Render patient clinically and pathologically free of disease. To control the disease, which means to prolong the survival of the patient, maintaining the patient's functional status and quality of life. And last is palliation, where relieve the symptom and improve the quality of the life of the patient, but it does not improve the survival of the patient. To cure means patient is completely cured from the disease. To control means patient lives the life with the cancer, and palliation means you are giving the therapy to comfort the patient till patient lives. What are the modalities of the treatment available? First is surgically. You can surgically remove the tumor growth. Second is radiation therapy using X-ray. Radiation therapy is of two varieties, external beam radiotherapy and internal radiotherapy. Last is chemotherapy. In chemotherapy, there are certain newly developed drugs called as biological therapy, which include use of hormones and monoclonal antibodies for the treatment of cancer. Now we start with the chemotherapy because this is a pharmacology session, so we will be mainly focusing on the drug therapy. Recent development started after 1940 with the use of nitrogen mustard into the field of cancer chemotherapy. Now of established and highly specialized value, you all know that into the oncology field there is a super specialization degree, the whole course which runs over 3 years that exists. So we cannot study the whole 3-year course into one lecture. So we will be highlighting or discussing the main important features of the cancer chemotherapy or basic principles of cancer chemotherapy. They are most effective against rapidly dividing tumor cells. Respond favorable to chemotherapy cancers are choriocarcinoma, acute leukemia, Hodgkin's disease, Burkitt's lymphoma, Wilms tumor, testicular carcinoma, Ewing sarcoma, retinoblastoma in children, diffuse histiocytic lymphoma, and rhabdomyosarcoma. What is the role of chemotherapy? Chemotherapy can work as a primary therapy for the patient where cancers like acute lymphocytic leukemia and acute myelogenous leukemia where you have to give chemotherapy primarily. They can be useful as adjuvant therapy like in breast cancer and colorectal cancer where surgery is the first primary therapy. You have to remove the cancerous breast growth or colorectal cancer growth, and followed by that you give simultaneous chemotherapy. Sometimes they are used as neoadjuvant like anal carcinoma or bladder carcinoma where chemotherapy and surgery or radiations are given simultaneously. Sometimes chemotherapy is given for palliative treatment like in advanced bladder cancer or brain tumor where the cancer is spreaded so much that operation or surgical removal is not possible. Now we come with the mechanism of action. Like antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral and all other drugs, anti-cancer drugs also act on the different parts of the cells. They can act on the DNA of the cell, they can act on the metabolites of the cell, they can act on the other cellular structures, they can act on the microtubule, and broadly the classes are anti-cancer drugs are anti-metabolite drugs which are inhibiting the growth of metabolites by the cell, alkylating agents and topoisomerase inhibitor, they act by inhibiting the DNA synthesis, asparginase which is the group which act by inhibiting the other cellular material synthesis. Tubulin binders, they will combine with the tubulin and inhibit the cell structure. Now we see the actual classification of anti-cancer drugs. They are classified as alkylating agent which include nitrogen mustard, nitrosourea, platinum coordination complexes. Antimetabolite include folic acid analogs, amino acid antagonist, purine antagonist, pyrimidine antagonist, vinca alkaloids, taxanes, epipodophylotoxin, camptothecin analog, and antibiotics. And there are certain other miscellaneous substances which are also used for the treatment of cancer chemotherapy. Now we first discuss the basic concepts which are related to cancer chemotherapy. All cancer chemotherapeutic drugs act by either cell cycle specific killing or cell cycle non-specific killing. Other basic concept which we are going to learn is log kill hypothesis, and the last one is growth fraction. And one important one is tumor burden. First we see the cell cycle specific and non-specific killing. I hope you remember this phases of cell growth. S phase, G2 phase, M phase, G1 phase, and there are certain checkpoints. You must have learned this into your first year lectures. There are certain drugs which will be acting on one of the specific phase of the cell cycle. Like vinblastine will act on the cell, those who are in G1 phase only. The drugs which like methotrexate, cytarabine, 6-mercaptopurine, 5-fluorouracil, hydroxyurea, mitomycin C, these are the drugs which are acting on S phase only. There are certain drugs which act on G2 phase like donorubicin, bleomycin, etoposide, topotecan. There are certain drugs which act on the M phase or mitotic phase only like vincristine, vinblastine, paclitaxel, docetaxel. Now we see the log kill hypothesis. The cell killed by the first order kinetics. A constant fraction of cells are killed by a given drug dose, not the constant number. It is just like the first order kinetics of elimination. Constant fraction of the cells are killed with a single dose of a chemotherapeutic agent. A constant percentage of the total number of cancer cells present into the tumor will be killed with each course of chemotherapy. Hence, repeated doses of chemotherapy must be used for the total cell kill. Next important parameter to understand is growth fraction. Growth fraction is the percentage of the actively dividing cell at any given point in time. High growth fraction tumor, they are more sensitive to cell cycle specific drugs because they are highly dividing cells, so they will be passing to the different phases of the cell cycle repeatedly, so they are more sensitive to chemotherapeutic drugs. Low growth fraction tumors like solid tumors like carcinoma of colon and lung cancer, they are less responsive to cell cycle specific drug, but both of them will be responding to cell cycle non specific drug. Normal tissues with high growth fraction like bone marrow, hair follicle and intestinal tissue is also affected simultaneously. Next is important parameter is tumor burden. The tumor burden is the size of the tumor as determined by the number of cells present. Small tumor burden will be more responsive. If the cells which has to be killed are very less in number, then they are easy to kill. And higher number of tumor burden, which means probability of the drug resistance is high. Cancer cells usually follows the Gomphardian growth pattern. Here you can see that on the x-axis time is plotted and on the y-axis number of cancer cells are plotted. Here you see that as the cancer start, initially the cell growth will be changing from 10 to 10 raised to 2 to 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 6. This is the initial phase which is very difficult to diagnose clinically. It is clinically undetectable tumor here. The diagnosis is possible when a cell growth reaches 10 raised to 10 or initial symptoms, and later on when the cell growth further expands, then the disease symptom becomes incapacitating for the patient, and here the tumor mass is high because the cell number is high, which is highly responsible for the death. Ultimately a plateau phase will be occurring, which lead to lower growth fraction and longer tumor doubling times. Now up to this stage cancers are very difficult to even diagnose. Here, so meanwhile, from the diagnosis to the last stage, we have to give the chemotherapy in such a way that this growth rate comes down to the normal. Either you can apply chemotherapy alone, you apply chemotherapy type B, or you can choose any other drug type based on the patient. You can reduce the tumor burden by first surgery or radiation or multiple course intensive chemotherapy regimens. You may use the immunotherapy also, but ultimately the goal is to reduce the burden of the tumor, or the growth of the tumor has to be reduced to efficient action of the chemotherapeutic agents. This is called as Gompertzian kinetic tumor growth curve, which is very important to understand that as the tumor mass reduces or the growth of the tumor is less, then it is very easy to treat. Sometimes we use combination chemotherapy. Nowadays, it is by rule that in the cancer, you always go for the combination chemotherapy. Maximum cell killing is achieved with the tolerable toxicity. Broader range of coverage of different cell line is possible with the combination therapy. Prevent or slows the development of new drug resistant cell lines. Sometimes the drugs are effective alone. Different mechanism of actions are there, so there is synergism is produced when you combine these two drugs together. They are having different toxicities. Different mechanism of resistance should be there. Preferable to combine cell cycle specific drug with the cell cycle non-specific drug, so you cover every aspect of the cell growth. Now we come to the general toxicities of the cancer chemotherapeutic agent, which is the most important question from this chapter. More profound effect on the rapidly multiplying cells like bone marrow, epithelial lining, reticuloendothelial system and gonads is seen. Dose dependent manner of toxicity is seen with majority of the drugs. Differences into the susceptibility of the individual to the different members of chemotherapeutic agents has been reported. First side effect or the first general toxicity is the bone marrow depression. It is usually presented as granulocytopenia, agranulocytosis, thrombocytopenia, and aplastic anemia. It is one of the dose limiting side effects. Infections and bleeding are the usual complications because of this reaction. Treatment is one can supplement the human granulocyte colony stimulating factor, also called as filgrastim, which enhances the growth of the bone marrow. Other toxicity is on the lymphoreticular tissue, which is presented as lymphocytopenia and inhibition of lymphocyte function, leading to suppression of the cell mediated as well as humoral immunity, and the patient is more prone to development of other secondary or opportunistic infections like candida, herpes zoster, cytomegalovirus, pneumocystis jirovecii, toxoplasma. Such opportunistic infections are very high when person's immunity goes down. Next toxicity is oral cavity. Into the oral cavity, the drugs can cause stomatitis, increase into the chances of oral infection. When there is thrombocytopenia, bleeding gums occurs into the oral cavity. Xerostomia, that is dryness of mouth, and rapid progression of the dental caries is there. Into the skin, toxicity includes alopecia and dermatitis. Hair loss is very common side effect seen with the anti-cancer drug, and it has been very much highlighted into different films also. Dermatitis is the inflammation of the skin. Onto the gonads, it produces oligozoospermia and impotence into the males, and inhibition of ovulation and amenorrhea into the females. Damage to germinal cell lines and ultimately lead to mutagenesis. Into the GIT, toxicity include diarrhea, shedding of mucosa, and hemorrhages at the different level. Mucositis, which is very commonly seen with bleomycin, actinomycin D, daunorubicin, doxorubicin, fluorouracil, and methotrexate. Nausea and vomiting due to direct stimulation of CTZ and emetic impulses, oblique mediators from the upper GIT. Based on the GIT related toxicity, chemotherapeutic drugs are divided into three categories: highly emetogenic drugs, moderately emetogenic drugs, and mild emetogenic drug. High emetogenic drugs are cisplatin, mustine, and cyclophosphamide. Moderate are vinblastine, daunorubicin, doxorubicin, and mild are fluorouracil, hydroxyurea, and methotrexate. What is the effect on pregnancy and fetus? Practically all cytotoxic drugs are contraindicated during pregnancy. Developing fetus will get aborted, and fetal death is the certain result of administration of cancer chemotherapeutic drugs during pregnancy. Next is carcinogenicity. Secondary cancers, leukemia, lymphomas, and histiocytic tumors can occur. Because of the rapid turnover of the cell, there is development of hyperuricemia, which is secondary to massive cell destruction. Uric acid is a product of purine metabolism. Gout and urate stones into the urinary tract may develop. Now we come to the actual description of the cancer chemotherapeutic agent. Till now, we have discussed general principles of chemotherapy, what are general toxicities, classification of the drug, and basic principles which you should keep in mind before prescribing cancer chemotherapeutic agent. Now let's discuss the individual chemotherapeutic agent. First is alkylating agent. Nitrogen mustard like meclorethamine, mustine hydrochloride, cyclophosphamide, ifosfamide, chlorambucil, and melphalan. Ethylenamine are thiotepa. Alkyl sulfonate is busulfan. Nitrosourea is carmustine and lomustine. Triazine are dicarbazine. This alkylating agent act by direct damage to DNA. They form intrastrand and interstrand crosslinks into the DNA helical, which lead to inhibition of DNA synthesis and function. They are commonly identified as cell cycle non-specific killing drug, which work in all phases of cell cycle. They are used to treat many different cancers like leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, multiple myeloma, and sarcoma, cancer of lung, breast, and ovary. Long-term use may lead to damage to bone marrow. Acute leukemia may occur as a dose-dependent phenomena, but it takes 5 to 10 years after the treatment. Next class is platinum analog. cisplatin, carboplatin, oxaliplatin. They form intrastrand and interstrand crosslinks and cause inhibition of DNA synthesis and function. Broad range of anti-tumor activity against solid tumor, including non-small cell and small cell lung cancer, esophageal and gastric cancer, headache, neck cancer, and genitourinary cancer, particularly into testicular, ovarian, and bladder cancer. Extensively cleared by the kidney, and dose modification is required into the renal dysfunction patients. Adverse drug reaction of this group is nephrotoxicity, peripheral sensory neuropathy, ototoxicity, and nerve dysfunction. Next group is anti-metabolites. Folate antagonists are methotrexate. Purine antagonist is 6-mercaptopurine, 6-thioguanine, azathioprine, and fludarabine. Pyrimidine antagonist is 5-fluorouracil and cytarabine. First, we start with the methotrexate. It is oldest and highly efficacious anti-neoplastic drug. It acts by inhibiting dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. If you remember the synthesis of folic acid, it comes from the diet. It is first converted into dihydrofolic acid, then converted into tetrahydrofolic acid, which is the active form of the folic acid inside the cell. Methotrexate will be taken up by the cell by the active transport process, and then it inhibits the enzyme dihydrofolate reductase, which is responsible for conversion of folate into dihydrofolate and dihydrofolate into tetrahydrofolate. So though the patient is consuming folic acid, the active form of the folic acid is not available inside the cells for action. 50,000 times higher affinity for the enzyme than the normal substrate. That is why methotrexate will be blocking the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme very strongly. Cell cycle specific action kills the cell into S phase, where the folic acid is most essentially required. Resistance to methotrexate develop due to either decrease the drug transport inside the cells or increased level of the target enzyme, that is dihydrofolate reductase enzyme is produced in higher number by the cell body. Altered dihydrofolate reductase enzyme protein so that the methotrexate cannot combine with it. Therapeutic uses of methotrexate is as anti-cancer. It is used for breast cancer, head and neck cancer, osteogenic sarcoma, primary central nervous system lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, bladder cancer, and choriocarcinoma. It can also be used as immunomodulator into the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, and other systemic disorders. Adverse drug reactions with the methotrexate commonly found are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomatitis, myelosuppression, erythema, rash, urticaria, and alopecia, which is prevented or reversed by simultaneous administration of leucovorin. And this phenomena is called as leucovorin rescue. Here we have discussed that methotrexate enters the cell, inhibit the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, so active form of the folic acid is not available. This tetrahydrofolic acid is converted into N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolic acid, which is used for the synthesis of guanine, adenine, thymidine, methionine, serine, etc. Leucovorin is the substance where we directly administered N5-formylene tetrahydrofluoric acid or folinic acid. Leucovorin is also called as folinic acid, which is converted into N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolic acid and therefore bypass the inhibited step, which means we are directly administering this substance inside the body. So toxicity of the folic acid can be reduced. Renal damage in high doses is one of the major problem with the methotrexate. Pulmonary toxicity include cough, dyspnea, fever, and cyanosis. Neurological toxicity with intrathecal administration of methotrexate has been reported, like subacute meningeal irritation, stiff neck, headache, and fever. It is contraindicated during pregnancy. Next drug is mercaptopurine and thioguanine. They are purine antagonists. They are highly effective antineoplastic drug converted to the corresponding monoribonucleotides, which inhibit the conversion of inosine monophosphate to adenine and guanine nucleotides. Feedback inhibition of the de novo purine synthesis occurs, which ultimately inhibit the tumor growth. Uses are childhood acute leukemia and choriocarcinoma. Adverse drug reactions are myelosuppression, immunosuppression, and hepatotoxicity. Next drug is fludarabine. It is a newer purine antimetabolite. It inhibits the DNA polymerase as well as gets incorporated to form dysfunctional DNA. It is indicated in chronic lymphatic leukemia and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that have recurred after treatment. Adverse effect is chills, fever, and vomiting after injection, myelosuppression, and opportunistic infection. Next drug is 5-fluorouracil. Mechanism of action, it inhibits the thymidine synthesis. Incorporation of FUTP into RNA resulting in alteration in RNA processing. Incorporation of FDUTP into DNA resulting in inhibition of DNA synthesis, and function of DNA is also inhibited. It is indicated in colorectal cancer, anal cancer, breast cancer, gastroesophageal cancer, head and neck cancer, and hepatocellular carcinoma. Adverse drug reactions are nausea, mucositis, diarrhea, bone marrow depression, and neurotoxicity. Cytarabine is used into the treatment of acute myeloid leukemia, acute lymphoid leukemia, CML, and into the blast crisis. Next class is vinca alkaloids. It includes vinblastine, vincristine, and vinorelbine. They are identified as mitotic inhibitors. They bind to the microtubular protein called as tubulin and prevent its polymerization and assembly of microtubule. Tubulin molecules fail to polymerize in the presence of vinca alkaloid. That's why the cells are arrested into the anaphase, and dissolution of the mitotic spindle will lead to cell death. Vinca alkaloids are cell cycle specific and act into the mitotic phase. This is the summary of the vinca alkaloids. Vinblastine, it is used into Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, germ cell cancer, breast cancers, and Kaposi's sarcoma. Nausea and vomiting are the acute toxicity, and delayed toxicities are myelosuppression, alopecia, SIADH, and vascular events. Vincristine is used for the lymphoid leukemia, Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, rhabdomyosarcoma, neuroblastoma, Wilms tumor. It has very less or no acute toxicity, but delayed toxicities are neurotoxicity, peripheral neuropathy, paralytic ileus, SIADH, alopecia, etc. Vinorelbine, which is used for the non-small cell lung cancer, breast cancer, and ovarian cancer. Nausea and vomiting are acute toxicity, and delayed toxicity are myelosuppression, constipation, and SIADH. Next group is Texans. They include paclitaxel and docetaxel. Mechanism of action is same as vinca alkaloids. Paclitaxel has significant activity in a broad range of solid tumor including ovarian, advanced breast and non-small cell and small cell lung cancer, head and neck, esophageal, prostate and bladder cancers, and AIDS-related Kaposi's sarcoma. Nausea, vomiting, hypotension, arrhythmia, hypersensitivity, myelosuppression, peripheral sensory neuropathy, these are the side effects with the Taxol. You must be finding the names of the cancers and AD are very common. In fact, it is so. The drugs are useful for almost all variety of cancer and side effects are all the same. So you have to remember the general toxicities and certain specific features only. Next class is epipodophylotoxins, that is etoposide, which is a plant glycoside. It inhibits the topoisomerase 2, so indicated into non-small cell and small cell lung cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and gastric cancer. Adverse drug reactions are nausea, vomiting, hypotension, alopecia, and myelosuppression. Next drug is camptothecin, which include topotecan and irinotecan, which is also a plant glycoside. It inhibits the type topoisomerase 2 indicated into small cell lung cancer and ovarian cancer. Adverse drug reactions are nausea, vomiting, hypotension, alopecia, and myelosuppression. Next class is antibiotics, which include bleomycin, daunorubicin, doxorubicin, idrarubicin, mitomycin C. They act by production of oxygen free radicals which bind to the DNA, causing single and double strand DNA breaks. Also, they inhibit topoisomerase 2. They intercalate into the DNA and ultimately cause permanent damage to the DNA, and growth inhibition is achieved. Side effects are nausea, vomiting, alopecia, and myelosuppression. This is the chart showing their drug, the clinical application, and adverse drug reaction. Bleomycin used for Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, germ cell cancer, and head and neck cancer. Allergic reaction, skin toxicity, and pulmonary fibrosis is common. Daunorubicin is used for acute myeloid leukemia and acute lymphoid leukemia. Adverse drug reaction, they produce red urine, not the hematuria, and cardiotoxicity. Doxorubicin, breast cancer, Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, soft tissue sarcoma, ovarian cancer, non-small cell and small cell lung cancer, thyroid cancer, Wilms tumor, neuroblastoma, and they also produce cardiotoxicity and red urine and stomatitis. Idrabicin, which is used into the lymphoid cell tumors, side effects are mucositis and cardiotoxicity. Mitomycin C is used for the superficial bladder cancer, gastric cancer, breast cancer, non-small cell lung cancer, head and neck cancer, which is usually given in combination with radiotherapy. Side effects are mucositis and hemolytic uremic syndrome. This was in very brief about the individual cancer chemotherapeutic drug. Now we learn a very brief about biological therapies also. In biological therapy, we use hormone and their antagonist. They are useful for the hormone sensitive tumors only. Hormone responsive or tumors regresses following a treatment with a specific hormone. This happens when the tumor growth is dependent on the hormone, which means removal of the hormonal stimulus will cause the tumor regression. It is usually is only palliative, except into the cases of cytotoxic effect of glucocorticoids at higher doses, for example, prednisolone into the lymphoma. But for most of the time, they are used as palliative therapy. It is accompanied by surgery. For example, in the case of orchidectomy for patients with advanced prostate cancer. Prednisone, it is a potent synthetic anti-inflammatory corticosteroid with less mineralocorticoid activity than cortisol. Lymphocytopenia and decreased lymphoid mass is achieved with prednisone. Induce remission into the patient with acute lymphocytic leukemia and into the treatment of both Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Adverse effects associated with the glucocorticoids are seen. It predisposes the patient to the infection because of the immunosuppression state is achieved. Predisposes the patient to the ulcers, development of pancreatitis. Other ADR includes hyperglycemia, cataract formation, glaucoma, osteoporosis, mood changes, euphoria, psychosis, etc. Tamoxifen, it is selective estrogen receptor modulator. It is used for first-line therapy in the treatment of estrogen receptor positive breast cancer. Adverse effects are similar to the effects of the natural estrogen, which include hot flashes, nausea, vomiting, skin rash, vaginal bleeding, vaginal discharge, etc. It has potential to cause endometrial cancer itself. Toremifene is a newer derivative. Next is aromatase inhibitors. Aminoglutathione, anastrozole and letrozole. Aromatase reaction is responsible for the extraadrenal synthesis of estrogen from the androstenedione. Peripheral aromatization is an important source of estrogen in postmenopausal women. Anastrozole and letrozole are first-line drugs into other countries for the treatment of breast cancer into postmenopausal women. Others are Megestrol, which is useful for the metastatic hormone-responsive breast and endometrial neoplasms. Leuprolide and goserelin, which can be useful for treatment of prostate cancer. Ethylene estradiol and diethylstilbestrol can be used for the treatment of prostate cancer. flutamide, nilutamide, and bicalcutamide, they can be useful for the prostatic cancer. In biological therapy, other modality is monoclonal antibodies. They are directed at specific targets. They block the cell surface receptor, recruitment of the immune cells, and implement and complement to the antigen antibody complex is seen, and they are having little bit less side effect as compared to others. You know that how the monoclonal antibodies are produced. First, we identify selective antigen and we inject it into the small animals. The small animal will react with that antigen and they produce the specific spleen cells. Now we take out or extract that spleen cells and fuse this cell into the cell culture myeloma line, and the myeloma cells are produced, and we fuse this myeloma cell with the spleen cell into the polyethylene glycol, which ultimately propagates the clone. There is a process in between which select and grow the hybrid cells. We select the cells making the desired antibody, because spleen is the organ which makes the antibody. So these are the cells which will be producing the antibody to fight against the desired antigen. So we identify that, we grow that cell, then the growth is done into the mass culture so that we can extract the antibodies. These cells are again used to induce the tumor into the small animals, and then they produce antibody. You can extract the antibodies also. This whole technique of production is called as monoclonal antibodies. There is a huge list of monoclonal antibody available in market, and they are coming up daily. On every yearly, almost 3 to 4 new drugs are introduced in this category. It is very difficult to remember all of them, so I have listed here and you can remember as much you can. Imatinib, dasatinib, and nilotinib, they inhibit the BCR-ABL tyrosine kinase and other receptor of tyrosine kinases used for the chronic myelogenous leukemia and GI stromal tumor. Toxicities are nausea, vomiting, fluid retention with ankle and periorbital edema, diarrhea, myalgia, and congestive heart failure. Trastuzumab, they act by inhibiting the binding to EGF to the HER2 or new growth receptor, which is mainly used for the HER2 or nuclear receptor positive breast cancers. Toxicities are nausea, vomiting, chill, fever, headache, and cardiac dysfunction. Bevacizumab, it acts by inhibiting the binding of VEGF to its receptor, resulting into inhibition of tumor vascularization. Useful for colorectal and breast cancer, non-small cell lung carcinoma, and renal carcinoma. Toxicities are hypertension, arterial thromboembolic events, GI perforation, and proteinuria. So this finishes our discussion on this cancer chemotherapeutic agent, and if you have any questions you can ask. Thank you.